1/2 gallon of milk. I use the Friendly Farms organic whole milk from Aldi, and then the yogurt starter, which I get off of Amazon. You can get 6 of these boxes for I think about $25. So with Prime shipping, it's a pretty good deal. But I don't do it for the cost savings. I do it because by eating this yogurt and following the Breaking the Viscous Cycle protocol, I basically cured myself of a ton of digestive issues I was having. So I followed the specific carbohydrate diet for about a month and a half, pretty religiously, and I still, shy away from grains and sugar, but now I can actually eat wheat and be on the road and not have to worry about, every tiny little ingredient that's in my food, as long as I eat this every day. I even pack it with me and take it with me when we travel, because I believe in it. Some people say that food can be your poison or your medicine, and I definitely think this is medicine. So we are going to make some yogurt. So I just have a nice heavy pan here, and we're just going to dump the yogurt in there, or dump the milk in there to get our yogurt going. So I'm going to put the whole thing in there. What you want to do is just start your heat up, get it going, and you're going to bring this to a simmer. Alright, our milk is heating up, so I'm going to give it a stir, otherwise it starts to stick on the bottom. That milk starts to solidify. You can see it kind of starting to stick on the side a little. So you just want to continue to lightly stir it. Basically, you're just getting the milk heated up just before the boiling stage. So you don't need to scald it. You don't need to boil it. Alright, if you want to get really technical, I let it get up to about 175, 185, somewhere in there, before I pull it off the heat. So we're getting really close. I'm going to clip that on the side. And now that I've done it so often, I can kind of just tell by the way it's solidifying on the side. You can see if I pull that away, it's starting to leave sort of a thick film on the side. Once that gets pretty hard to swipe off, I have found it's just about to the boiling point. So if you don't have a thermometer, don't worry. You can still make the yogurt without it. It's not a requirement. I just have one because we like to make candy in the Christmas season. So it's getting close. I can feel it. See it? See how it's really sticking up there? See, we're almost at 200. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to pull it off the heat. And turn off the heat. And now you have two options. You can either see that? See how it's really sticking to that spoon? That's how you know it's time to pull it off. It's a good indicator. You want to take a cup of the milk that's been heated out. So I'm just going to ladle it out here. I'm just putting it in this little measuring. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's somewhere between a cup and 2 cups. If you want to just stick it in a bowl or something, it's fine. I'm going to go 2 cups because I am making that full 1/2 gallon. And basically you're just going to let this cool. You can stick it in the fridge and let it cool quicker. I just let it sit on the counter until it's room temperature. And then once that happens, we will add this in. So we'll check back once it's cooled. All right, so it's been about an hour and 15 minutes, and that 2 cups of milk that I pulled out has cooled down to just below 100, which is about where I want it before we add in the starter. And the starter comes in these little packets. To do a ½ gallon, you need 2 of these. So we'll put those in. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of a skin, like a film on the milk. So I usually just take a fork and I kind of pull that skin off. You see it? That's just to improve the consistency of the yogurt. So we're going to put our 2 Yo Gourmet yogurt starters in here. Make sure we get all those good microbes out of there. And then I just stir it up. Try to get it mostly dissolved. It doesn't have to be perfect, but probably work better with a whisk, but I don't know, I always just seem to grab a fork. I guess because I'm getting that skin off. And keep mixing and mixing, and it'll get frothy, and that's fine. Alright, so looks pretty good. Looks like it's mostly dissolved. I don't see big, oh, there's a big clump. Let's keep mixing. Alright, so it's all nice and mixed. We just take this mixture that has our microbes in it, pour it back into the same pot. Now you could put it in a different pot if you wanted, but this is a nice heavy pot that's oven safe. So, okay, and sometimes there's a film, a little bit of film on the main pot. I can grab it here. There it is. See it? It's kind of gross looking, but again, that's to take that out and it'll improve the consistency of your yogurt. And yeah, there's some stuck onto the side. I usually just leave that. I don't pull it into the yogurt. Otherwise it kind of gets clumpy and then the kids complain. So now we just put our lid on. And I have this really handy button on my oven called Proof, and it will keep the temperature, let's start it, just about perfect. You want to keep the temperature between 100 and 110 so that you're not killing everything good that you want to put in your gut. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Alright, so it's sitting in there, and it's going to sit there for 24 hours. My proof button will turn itself off, or the proofing cycle will turn itself off after 12 hours, so then I'll have to come and turn it back on. For me, that's going to be 1:48 in the morning. So what I will likely do is, before I go to bed tonight, I will turn the proof cycle off and then reset it, and just keep a little sticky note or something of how many hours it's been, so I make sure I do it for at least 24 hours. You need it to do its thing for 24 hours because that gets all the sugars, or at least the majority of them, out of the yogurt. And that's following the protocol out of this book. Okay, 24 hours later, we should have yogurt. In there, it looks pretty firm. I take the whisk and just kind of check it, but yeah, that looks good. It's going to be thinner than a commercial yogurt. There's nothing added to this. It's truly what yogurt was meant to be, and like I said, it's more sour than a commercial yogurt, but I generally just add a little bit of fruit, some fresh fruit, maybe some frozen fruit in the winter that I've defrosted, and drizzle some honey on it. And it's really good, and like I said, I believe in it. I eat it every day and keeps my gut healthy. I just store it in quart jars and then keep it in the fridge. I've kept it for up to 3 weeks and it's been fine. So if you want to make a big, huge batch, you can, but I generally just go with the half a gallon of milk, and we'll see how much a half a gallon of milk yields us in terms of yogurt. All right, so you can see I have 2 quarts of yogurt, and we started with about 2 quarts of milk. So you don't really lose a whole lot in the process. Basically, yogurt is just fermenting the milk sugar into acid. So you're taking lactose and turning it into lactic acid, and that's what gives yogurt that distinct, sour flavor to it. Now, one little trick, if you don't have the proof button on your oven, like I do. Our older oven didn't have that on there. So you could just try to bake something, see what your lowest temperature is that your oven will take. Mine says 170. That's as low as it'll go. So back before I had this oven, if I wanted to dehydrate something or make yogurt, I would simply put on the lowest setting, take a wooden spoon, wedge it in the door, like so. Now I have a gas oven, so I would always keep, especially with the door cracked, I would keep my fan running just to make sure any fumes are escaping to the outside. And then I would also always use my oven thermometer. That way I could keep an eye on it and make sure that it was really holding at about 100. And I know on my old oven, 170 with the spoon in there, as long as it wasn't a terribly hot day, it would keep it to about 100, 105. So that's a nice trick if you don't have the proof button on your oven. So if you make the yogurt, let me know how you like it, especially if you're following a specific carbohydrate diet. This is the way to go.